Interview Part 11. We're coming to the end of the time slotted for our interview. I think the listeners have gained some great insight about you, hopefully a different perspective that can help them move on, be less afraid, let go, and move forward. I'm sensing you have more to give us. Before we go, do you have some additional tips and ideas you'd like to share?
Sure, I have some more, but I think for your listeners, it would be worthwhile to share a word that I think could help them a lot. Also, because it has been used in theater and movies, and many people have heard it but may not know how it can help remove fear. That word is Oz, like from The Wizard of Oz. Have you watched the movie or the play?
Yes, actually, it's a favorite of mine, but I've not looked into this Oz word. What is it?
In ancient biblical Hebrew, the word Oz is associated with courage and also the strength to dare do something you haven't done before. This two-letter word can have enormous power to help people lose or reduce their fear of my name. Such power could, for example, give people the courage to move ahead and define their own version of success, which would shift their mindset to one that allows them to learn and grow. By channeling Oz, people can also feel at ease to return any borrowed words that don't serve them well to whomever they got them from. Does this make sense, Robin?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In a sense, Oz is empowering people to make choices about words that serve them, and by solidifying their individuality, by blocking out external negative influences that fuel their beliefs about success.
And also, it can help people avoid remorse or perhaps guilt about choices they made in the past. Oz can help them understand that choices you made in the past were made from a different mindset and under a different set of circumstances. Circumstances change all the time. Nothing remains static, and no one has to carry guilt and then associate it with my name. But I think this is where Oz works best, by taking action and trying new things and learning from those unexpected outcomes. You're moving past what you thought were obstacles. Then, once you're on the other side of that obstacle, looking back, you suddenly realize that the obstacle looked tougher at the time than it really was. You took that step. You earned more Oz. Then you move one step forward again.
Thank you. That is really helpful, you know. I myself tend to carry my past with me, and it sometimes drags me down. I'll take your tip and start using Oz a lot more. Since you brought up the tale of the Wizard of Oz, I was thinking we can also adapt your idea of courage and daring to help us find out why the obstacle seems a lot bigger than it really is. I feel sometimes like someone has cast a spell on me that prevents me from taking a leap I know would allow me to learn and grow. Like trying to see who the wizard behind the curtain is that is casting the spell.
Certainly, that is a worthwhile idea. Why don't we go ahead and do that right now? Close your eyes, Robin. Pretend there is a curtain in front of you, right there where you are. Go ahead and remember the things we've been discussing about words, how their meaning sits in your head and not in the word, how dictionary meanings can be random or arbitrary, and how different people can carry different meanings of the same word, how perfection is an illusion. Now, knowing all this, go ahead, Robin, and imagine you're pulling back the curtain. What do you see?
Oh my God. I pulled back the curtain. There's nothing there. Whatever it is, it's totally invisible. Does that mean, wait, the spell is gone. Failure is not what it used to be. There you have it, folks. I hope today's podcast was valuable. I sure learned a few things and will go back through my notes to make sure I integrate the ideas into my journey. As always, you can download the transcript from my website. I look forward to your comments and feedback, which I will definitely use as input for a future episode. And they will also be up on the website blog in case you want to check them out. Thank you for joining today and hope to see you on my next episode. Hey, guess what? I'm going to try to get perfection on one of my shows. In the meantime, stay tuned. The video call ended abruptly. Robin could not reconnect to thank failure for being available for the interview. He turned off his laptop and walked over to his bookshelf to find his old college English language dictionary, scrolled and opened page 178, where he found a word he no longer had use for, and ripped the page out. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. Afterword, a brief explanation from the author. The story so far, but don't take my word for it. When I was a kid, my father used to tease me and scare the living daylights out of me by chanting repeatedly El palo, la escoba y la bruja, the stick, the broom, and the witch, which would petrify me until I cried. I don't remember much else from those days, but I can still hear the sound of those words reverberating in my head as my dad chased me around the house. I had managed to create my very own horror images from someone else's words. Even though there was no real evidence of a broomstick and no witch anywhere near, I believed my own terrifying imagination. My dad's words had secretly seeped below the surface, covertly shading the way I saw the world. A shadow had been created, lurking, until the right moment to show up disguised as a voice. When I hoped for an inner mentor to come to the rescue, a tormentor showed up instead, loudly uttering through a megahorn. I was all ears to that voice that hijacked my thoughts. Like in my case, parents and other people we trusted in our childhood may have used words in ways they interpreted as useful, with positive intention. You trusted so much you did not challenge. I imagine in their experience and upbringing, they inherited meanings that were at the time socially and culturally accepted, which formed their unique model of the world and their story. In the end, it was their story, not mine. Luckily, my professional training in continuous improvement and quality allowed me to create a different meaning of the F word, based partially on my experience, mostly about experiments. I start with a theory, plan an experiment to prove it out objectively, take the step to try it, pause to reflect, and learn what worked and what didn't according to the theory. Use the new knowledge to make more experiments. Besides, as a multilingual nerd, I love to look up words and their origins. When I realized the F word came from the 12th century, I figured it's time to check in how things looked back then and if they still relate to any of our 21st century reality. Over 800 years later, the internet, globalization, and great migrations have brought radical and fundamental changes to our cultures and mindsets. We update our mobile phones, operating systems, and security software. Is it time for the next update of the F word? Remember also that a word cannot define you. Your story and your identity are not made up by one single factor. You are much more complex than that and made up of numerous different features. Shadows tend to dissipate when we cast light on them. I believe that a useful, well-thought-out meaning can be that light. In this book, I tried to share a few ideas for you to use to find that light and edit your story. But I do not prescribe or dictate what you should or shouldn't do. The ideas are really about adding choices to your life. Some of us are unsuspecting contributors when we decide to accept someone's gift, even when it doesn't benefit us, yet we still chose to keep it and make it ours. What if you realized you can be the custodian of your thoughts by deliberately defining the meanings that color the words that you know are kicking your butt, it would be like turning the tables. You hijacking your inner critic's voice when you need to. Language is a human invention meant to help people interact and commune with others. What we often ignore is a side effect of language. When some words used to communicate with others have a different impact when we communicate with ourselves. In his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert T. Kiyosaki wrote, "It's not what you say out of your mouth that determines your life. It's what you whisper to yourself that has the most power." I bet we spend way more time whispering to ourselves with other people's words than the time we spend talking to others. That quote reminded me to be aware of the words in my whispers because those have the most power. Remember, words become the lenses through which you observe reality, but they are not reality. Words seed your thoughts. Thoughts generate your beliefs. Beliefs drive your actions. Thus, communication precedes your actions. There's no need to look any further, especially to just take the first step. Words are tools you carry with you all the time. You don't have to be a rapper. Anyone can invent a word or change a meaning or choose which words they'd like to retire. But be sure to take responsibility and choose meanings that in your self-talk will help steer you in the right direction. Check in on the meanings of the words you use today and invent new ones along the way to keep you moving forward to success. Curious about new and retired words? Just Google new English words added to the dictionary or words deleted from the dictionary. On a personal note, another F word is feeding. I've been so strict with what I feed myself because of my food sensitivities, lactose and gluten intolerance. I strive to be intolerant by choice to words that don't suit me. After all, they say you are what you eat. Now, back to when I was a kid. I can't possibly remember exactly, but I suspect that after crawling for a while, I started to try to walk. I stumbled, fell, and tried to get up. Then I did that again until finally I took my first step. By then, the F word had been coined by grumpy old men, yet sat tucked away in the middle of a page in a dictionary on a bookshelf. It had no effect on my motivation to learn how to walk. I quickly learned about gravity without knowing it by name. I now think it was there to provide feedback as a friend and gave me the faith to be curious and take the first step. Then the next and the next after that until I was upright, waddling around. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "Faith is taking the first step even if you don't see the whole staircase." You too can discreate the meaning you unknowingly accepted. If you remember the learning to walk mindset, take the first step and change your story. I started writing this book as a novel several years ago, but it wasn't ready yet. So I set it aside, always wanting to get back to finish what I started. Recently, after the COVID-19 pandemic, I found the discipline to resume writing in a voice that I was able to now, until I learned to write novels. Writing is an incredible exercise that connects ideas and thoughts in your brain and brings them to life when they get put into words on paper or your favorite electronic document. Considering the F theme and the main character, I've strived to provide you, the reader, with ideas and analogies that can help you in your journey and motivate you to take your first step. The ideas are interpretations from my experience in life and work, reading, reflecting, and teaching. There's an abundance of literature, videos, and podcasts that will help you complement these ideas. Gaining more intellectual knowledge is important, but in my opinion, is not enough to move you forward. Plan, try, err, learn, reflect, learn some more, and try again. Revisit your plan and try again. Doing and feeling is what will leave the mark of transformation toward growth and success. Since I think success has no deadline, I'm publishing the manuscript as is. I'll try, err, reflect, and learn some more. Then I'll probably edit this latest draft and publish take 26, learn from your feedback, and publish again. In the meantime, if this version has helped you, or perhaps someone you know, to take one step forward, my mission is accomplished. What's my silent accord? I'm too old to grow up, too young to stop learning, delighted to share and give back. Remember what the great Napoleon Hill said. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. Cheers and clack away, y'all. Thank you. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly. Marcus Aurelius.